Justin Neff family. Welcome to the Voices of Maat. You are hearing the voice of Chief Seba, Piankhi, Ptah, Montu, Nefer, Amun of the Temple of Heru. Before we get started, I want to give greetings, honors, and salutations to all of you under the sound of my voice. I want to say Hotep. I want to say honors and respects to the founder and leader of the Temple of Heru, Baba Seba, Maurice Neferu. I want to say honors and salutations to the host of the Voices of Maat, Queen Mother, Ini Tere Aset Akua Kitty Haru, and dua to that queen for allotting me this time to do this presentation on her channel. I want to give honors and salutations to Chief Elder Rennie Unk Makaru and Chief, and I apologize, Queen Elder Regina Dennis Nana. And I want to say Hotep to the rest of the extended Temple of Heru family. Let's get started. This is the African/Kemetic spirituality versus religion. And it's by yours truly. Let's continue. Quick overview. The ancient Kemetic had an ingeniously sophisticated way of using natural symbols for how they express their ideas about the divine. These natural symbols became the keys to deciphering the Kemetic myths after the knowledge was buried and forgotten. The ancient Africans did not have our modern concept of worship. Here we'll look at what we have taken from the ancient Kemetic spirituality in contrast to modern ideas of religion. African spirituality versus religion. What is the difference between being religious and being spiritual? Because many people think this is the same thing, and it's not. But let's elaborate. Religion is like being a thermometer. Spirituality is like being a thermostat. As a Christian, I was taught that being spiritual and being religious were the same thing. But I observed that, that they have a very different effect on our lives. Because of how religion is expressed, feelings of anxiety, depression, anger, grief, and confusion are normalized. In other words, because so many people in religion suffer from the same afflictions, people believe it is how things are supposed to be. Here's what you have to ask and examine about yourself. Is advancing your higher spiritual self, your Haru self, a priority for you? Do you want to truly know why you feel disconnected spiritually? Does what I call the religious dependency complex have you feeling stuck in your lower self-consciousness, your Sutek self? Do you seek to develop your higher self-consciousness so that you will increase your confidence and self-esteem? Here's the thing, as I've stated above. Because so many people in religion are affected by the same afflictions, people have come to think that it's how things are supposed to be. Truth is, religion does have spiritual components. This is the very reason why religions attracted our ancestors and why religions continue to compel Black people and hold us as bound as believers. Black people are the most spiritual people on the planet. People stay in religions because they believe that natural spiritual components are unique to their religion. But I argue that spiritual components are not uniquely exclusive to religion. The feelings of awe and amazement when you connect to the larger version of yourself is very normal. Let me say that again. The feelings of awe and amazement when you connect to the larger version of yourself is very normal. You know, a lot of people always try to remind me of when I would get up in church and, I would have this outburst of emotion, this pent up emotion where I would say hallelujah probably 10 times in a row, sometimes with tears flowing from my eyes. And, they ask, how could I do that? And then now come to the place where I no longer have any belief in that tradition because the feelings of awe and amazement when you connect to the larger version of yourself is very normal. In Christianity, you are taught that this experience is happening because you are connected to Jesus Christ in some way. But the truth is, it has nothing to do with the name that you call on. It is more about what you were taught within that religion. How do we know? Because Muslims and Jews have the same experiences as Christians do. However, neither Muslim nor Jew believe in Jesus Christ as God. The reality is that connecting to one's inner self is part of the human experience. That's the part of yourself that is and has always been telling you that you are, in fact, divine. How? Because you are one with Nefer or nature. You are an aspect of the divine force from which all creation sprang from. To simplify, it's no different than a drop of ocean water being compared to the ocean. When examined under a microscope, it will still consist of what the ocean consists of, despite being its own individual drop. That is, in essence, how we exist both as individuals and as parts of the whole. We are because our ancestors were, and I am because you are. We are the committee. You. Let's continue. The African origins of religion. Let me be clear. African spirituality does not need a group, a name, or a building. It is singularly personal and subjective. Let me say that one more time for those who like to try to put us in a box, because I love how when I express certain things, people will take a statement I made or a stance I made and say, you don't even believe in this or you don't believe in that. So let me read this again. Let me be clear. African spirituality does not need a group, a name, or a building. It is singularly personal and subjective. I personally promote the learning of African spirituality because it is my opinion, the genesis of all religions. Let me say that one more time. I personally promote the learning of African spirituality because it is, in my opinion, the genesis of all religions. Something that most people are intimately familiar with is the Black church and its impact on our lives. But what happens when I connect biblical teachings to their origins in Africa? For those who aren't in denial, this connection shows the African dysphoria that our ancestors contributed to the world many great things beyond slavery and oppression. This connection is also a framework in which to gain a deeper metaphysical knowledge and develop a sense of self confidence. It is a chance to gain a higher perspective that will allow you to live your life as authentically as you can. Let's go. Fear. One of the fears that I see put out across social media and personally by Christians that I know is the fear of being judged by other Christians. But it begs the question, why is there such a foul culture of being judgmental in the church? And in particular, why is there so much judgment towards others within Christianity? I believe the blame falls deeply on the ideas carried by most religions, especially Christianity in particular. Most will concede that there is a right way to live and exist in this world outside of harming one another. This notion that one religion has the ultimate truth is something that is uniquely exclusive to Christianity. No other religion in antiquity made this claim. I submit that people are so judgmental today because so many find it difficult to live the so called right way or live righteously. As a result, they must find fault in others so that they don't feel so horrible about themselves. The truth is, if everyone would just live their own lives to the fullest and embraced an ideology of not doing harm to others, the world would be much better off. And here you see all of the different things that you have to be concerned with when you're trying to, quote, live righteously. And when I say righteously, I mean under the Christian ideology of what righteous is. Judgmental Christians. Held within the original Kemetic teachings, a personal authenticity was a key component. It was widely recognized that every part of creation was an expression of the original essence. The ancient Kemetic use saw everything as one with the original source, or nature slash nature. The Bible also infers this by saying we are all made in the image of God. But in practice, we were never taught that we were different. Or, but in practice, we were taught that we were different. We are made in his image, but he could send us straight to hell for eternity. The concept that you must conform to some ideal is a contradiction that most of us know does not work in real life. Yet we are told to strive for it. Ponder this for a second. We are told to strive for something we know we can never achieve, being perfect as Christ. This is the disconnect that is taught in Christianity. Anyone that has at least two children knows not to try to make one try to be like the other. The child that is made to feel that their authentic being is somehow seen as inferior to the other is certain to rebel. However, in Christianity, we are taught to be like a perfect God man that walked the earth performing miracles. It is an impossible task to undertake, the endeavor to become some imagined idea of a perfect individual. You are taught a, that you are predestined to be a defective sinner. This takes you right back to the question of why there is so much judgment of others in Christianity. Basically, if I can't be perfect, let me point out that others aren't either. My sin is not as bad as theirs. The truth is that the system of Christianity is defective. It's not you. Knowledge of self, part one. What is self? Religion teaches us that a non-physical God created consciousness. The self is what the creator designed to be the essence of human beings and perhaps of other beings as well, by using a kind of non-physical substance, a soul or spirit, whose properties remain interminglable and dispute. The soul slash spirit can be either a required component of consciousness that complements the brain, or an independent, non-physical, concrete existing thing that is inherently conscious and uses or manipulates the brain. Shout out to Morgan Freeman. Knowledge of Self, Part 2. African spirituality teaches us it's a non physical cosmic consciousness. The self as a whole is independent of the physical world, body, brain, and derived from an all pervading cosmic consciousness, which is the ultimate reality and the fundamental progenitor of all physical existence. It is, in essence, nature, or better said, nature. So, in closing, to sum it up, as I've stated before, and at the risk of redundancy, in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, you are a born sinner. And to effect change in your life, you must go to a God for intervention. But Baba Seba Maurice and Nefer has taught us through African Kemetic spirituality that we, the Kemetic you, are spiritual beings having a human experience. And as such, you have the power to intervene on behalf of yourself. You don't have to go to anyone. You know, I was thinking about the brother DMX and how that brother had a prayer on every album. Profound poet as well as a rapper, but all that talent, all that energy, all that aggression would have made a perfect comedic personality, right? But even with that, he thought that he had to go to a God outside of himself to affect change. With all that talent, all that profound talent, he still thought he had to go to somebody outside of himself. He thought that talent came from outside of himself. And thus, when it came to kicking a drug habit, he looked outside of himself. Had he known about Kemetic spirituality at an early age, where it could have permeated into his spirit, he would have known that he had the power, as Baba Seba Maurice and Neferu teaches us, to intervene on behalf of himself. No more looking outside to an outside entity for help. He would have known that he was the entity that could affect the change on behalf of himself. And thus, he could have done it. And he may still be with us today. And we have many, many talented brothers and sisters who could have contributed to the liberation of Black people in one way or another, but didn't realize they didn't have to look beyond themselves to affect change, both famous and not famous. And so I just wanted to emphasize that really quickly. Uh, but again, Baba Seba Maurice Neferu has taught us through African spirituality that we, the Kemetic you, are spiritual beings having a human experience. As such, you have the power to intervene on behalf of yourself. As elaborated here and above, every drop in the ocean makes up the ocean, and the ocean is a multitude of drops. A drop is the same thing as the ocean, but not the same magnitude. That's Kemetic spirituality one on one. 101. In essence, you were born spiritual and taught religion. They are not the same. So let us return to our natural or natural Kemetic state. Hotep. I apologize for the stumbles and bumbles, family. I will do better next time. Hope you learned something. Hope you enjoyed the presentation. Again, dua to Queen Mother Indy Terea Setaku Kitty Haru for allowing me to do this presentation on her channel. Honors and respects to Baba Seba Maurice Neferu for the knowledge and wisdom he continues to disseminate amongst us. Take note that we have a grandmaster teacher in our midst, and don't let time with him, don't take time with him for granted. Again, honors and salutations to Chief Elder Rennie Unk Makaru, Queen Elder Regina Dennis Nana, and the rest of the Temple of Heteru extended family. And this has been a Voices of Maat special presentation by yours truly, Chief Seba, Piankhi, Ptah, Montu, Nefer, Amun, Ra. And we'll be back at it again, family. That's peace. Hotep.